Hello and welcome to the Best Girl Space. Today is Wednesday, November 13th. This is episode 257. I have literally done this intro like 5 times. What's wrong with me today? I don't know. I'm Amy Beth, also known as the Fat Squirrel on Ravelry and the Fat SQRRL on Instagram. I'm your hostess of this hot mess. Before I forget, I am wearing I wrote it down. Neon Beast by Vera Valimaki. It's in Madeline Tosh sock. Because I'll forget if I don't. My hair is this especially hot mess. Because I've been wearing a hat all day. Because it's now officially cold. We have transitioned into like the first day of October, I think here was like 90 something degrees. And the last day of October was snow. Yesterday it was like 12 degrees when we went to the bus stop. Actually, I think it was 10 degrees when we went to the bus stop. I think the high was like 12 degrees Fahrenheit. Oh my goodness. Craziness. What was I saying? What were we talking about? I guess so. Oh, all right. Okay. So it's a little bit flighty UAE. In general, it's driving me pretty berserker. I'm in that place where I've realized like I must commit to the no haircut lifestyle because the thought of haircuts stresses me out so intensely that I just have got to not rage cut my own hair. I just gotta let it grow and then I'll be the woman on the SNL skit for the orchard. Did you see that? You really need to watch it. Well, see, this is especially exciting, isn't it for you? Are you like, holy Hannah lady? I'm sure if you go to YouTube and YouTube Google, if you search SNL apple orchard. Okay, SNL apple picking will get you directly to the skit. Just watch it. But the Addie Bryant has like the side braid, the giant long one, and like it's clearly a joke, but I don't know. I'm just gonna own my Carolyn Ingalls lifestyle goals and just grow out my side braid. Just gonna be that person. That's right. That's what I'm gonna be. Just gonna own that. I've wanted to be Carolyn Ingalls since I was like 7. I can be Carolyn Ingalls now. Why not? Okay, there's a caveat. I have not watched that show as an adult, and I'm sure I would find it much more challenging to integrate some more of the problematic things that I'm sure are in there, but I just don't want to revisit because I would like to just live in my fancy bubble here. So I will acknowledge that. Whatever, side braid. And like my hair seems so long. It seems so long to me. It's not. It's totally not long enough for a side braid. How many years do I have to wait before my hair is long enough for that? 7 million years? Apparently that's approximately how long I have to wait. I don't know if I can wait that long. Anyway, so now I'm just side ponytailing it. That's right. Side ponytail. That's where I'm at, people. My husband doesn't care. He has no idea. I'm totally laughing because he never complains about anything I wear, no matter how ridiculous it is. He never says one word, and in fact is usually just like excited about me just in general as a human being and the flesh sack in which I inhabit. But I totally, again, Carolyn Ingalls life goals, totally broke down. I've wanted one for years. I totally had a pity party and bought myself a full-on Vermont country store flannel nightgown with like the lacy ruffle thing, like the yoke with like the ruffly lace bit between the yoke, like between the two pieces, and like the gathered sleeve. It's the one thing I think, I could be wrong, but I think in like 14 years, I think it's the one thing that I've worn that he was like, whatever. I do what I want. Oh, such a nightmare I am. But anyway, let's get this shaggy mess out of the way. What are we talking about? What are we even doing here? I don't know. We'll have shenanigans, we'll have knitting, and I will not have shameless self-promotion, but I will warn you? I will remind you that I'm having a cats and house coats update on December 1st. And I'm hoping that those will ship out by December 16th. That is my plan. Should work. If you happen to go to the site on December 1st and there's nothing there, it's just because it's taking me longer to recover. But I mean, I'm sure by then I'll be okay to put out something that's like, hey, sorry, I'm still recovering. I can't get your bags to you on time. But that's the plan at this point. And this should give me plenty of time to... But you just never know. Right? Right. Okay, I've done this 5 times and now I can't remember if I told you what this is. But in case I didn't, it's Vera Valimaki's Neon Beast. Madeline Toshak. Or Twist. I can't remember. Oh my gosh. Shenanigans. What have I been doing? I went to Vogue Knitting Live in Columbus 2 weekends ago, which was so lovely. I have never been to the Vogue Knitting Live before. Yeah. I've been to one Stitches, but I did not take any classes there. So I went to Vogue Knitting Live in Columbus. I knew I would just be there for the day. So I picked Saturday to go because Clara Parks had a lecture in the morning. And then Tar Heel Billy Farm, Charis. I think that's right. I even wrote it down. I apologize if that's not right. Tar Heel Billy Farm was giving a lecture in the afternoon. So I was like, oh, that's perfect. And there were wonderful classes. Like, I was really surprised. I guess I'd never even looked at the Vogue Knitting Live before. And the only reason I even looked at it this time was because the beautiful Hey Brownberry, Marcia, I love you, and Ninja Chickens, oh my gosh, you too, were teaching. And so I was like, oh, what? I could totally do that in a day. So, but they had a lot of really great looking classes. I just knew that I'd only be there for a day and budgetary things and life and stuff. So I did that. It was very pleasant. I got there in the morning, did my lecture, had a little bit of market time. Then there were like some free lectures. I saw a free lecture by Hey Brembury. Oh my gosh, so cute and wonderful. About, which I think is so important. It was a lecture about reframing your thinking about, specifically about knitting, but I think it's so important in so many aspects of our lives. But she's talking about, you know, not being overwhelmed. Like if you feel like, oh, I have to, like we fall into these patterns of conversations with each other, right? Like it's just like diet culture stuff, right? Like you don't even notice it. You go in a group of, usually it's a group of women, and immediately people are talking about what they're not eating, or why this thing is bad, or why this food is good now. And those conversations are exactly the same. I mean, the content changes because we can never decide what's good and what's bad. But you don't even notice you're having those conversations until somebody points out like, hey, this is all we talk about. And you're like, wait, what? This is totally true. It's all we talk about. It's weird. So the same thing is true though about a lot of our conversations with knitters, like, right? Like you have this beautiful thing on, somebody comes up to you and is like, oh, did you make that? It's gorgeous. And the first thing you say is, yeah, but right here, do you see I dropped this stitch? Oh my gosh. And this cable, I totally twisted it the wrong way. And so we just immediately like devalue everything we've done. Why do we do that? We need to stop doing that. And again, apologizing for things, which I am super guilty of, especially I'm sure when I'm podcasting, because it's just rote, right? Like it's just, we minimize ourselves because in the hopes that it makes other people feel better about themselves, but it doesn't make them feel better about themselves. Like, so why do we do it? I don't know. Anyway, I am very guilty of it. But just in terms of like like thinking of your whips as, what is she, abundant knitting opportunities or abundant project choices or something like that. But like, instead of being like, oh, I have all these whips, I don't know. I have such an abundance of options in my knitting today. Like, what will I choose? I can choose anything. That kind of, just like reframing those things that we just, it's just so easy to fall into. like this, because again, we fall into negative self-talk in our heads, so why wouldn't we just fall into it when we're actually speaking with other human beings? But if we could reframe how we're speaking with other human beings and be more present and aware when we're speaking with other human beings, maybe we would be more present and aware when we speak to ourselves as well. I don't know. But Marcia's wonderful. And I got to give her a hug, but it wasn't enough. I need knitting commune retreat. Come on. Needs to happen. Anyway. And the Ninja Chickens and I had a total like rom-com moment where I was like trying to get to her classrooms to say hello between her classes. But I had a very limited time because I was trying to get to my next thing. So I was kind of like not running but like fast walking. And then like I was fast walking up the escalator and I got almost to the top. And then she started to come down the escalator. I was like, and then she turned around and ran up the escalator and did not fall. How impressive is she? I would have been like, I'll see you in a minute because I'm going to ride down and ride back up again. So cute though. So it was lovely. And Clara Parks is so charming in person. Let's just say that. Clearly. She is horribly charming in person. I had started reading, is it Vanishing Fleece, her new book? Which I've really enjoyed. And of course, the first mill she visits is Bartlett. I said it right. I always say that one. And of course, I'm like, oh, well, I'm in. Because I find that, I mean, I love Bartlett yarns and so enjoyable. And I really enjoy the book. I think I'm going to try to do a special episode where I talk about kind of what I'm reading, because I'm reading several Woolly books right now. And it won't be like a great in-depth discussion. It'll just be like, these are things I'm reading and enjoying. Ta-da! But just, I'm really enjoying the book, and it's helping me understand more about American wools and like why I can't get some yarns and I can get some others, and like pricing and things like that. So I found it very interesting. And her talk was very charming and engaging and so enjoyable. And then the market, of course, was lovely. I did not buy a lot of stuff, but I did buy Tova a succulent felting kit. I couldn't help it. I just got suckered in. It was so super cute. Like a needle felting kit. She might be like, I'm never sure about like, that's my daughter, if you're, she's almost 13. She has this like weird, I think this is exactly how I was at a younger age too, where I was drawn to making things, but I also had limited patience and limited confidence in my own abilities. I think I've gotten better at at failing at things. I'm still not good at it, but I've gotten a little bit better at doing things poorly as I've gotten older. I used to be really bad at it. And so I think she's kind of in a somewhat similar place. So I'm always like, I think I know you, but I'm not sure. Like I guess that's what motherhood is in general. Like, I think I know kind of what's going on, but maybe it's really different. So I think she'd like this. It's like this is a smaller project. I find needle felting very satisfying. It makes me feel much more accomplished in my artistic abilities than I feel in other areas. Like, I love knitting because there's structure within which to be creative. It's the reason I like board games. Like, right, there's a structure. It's not just like, here's a piece of paper and colored pencils. You know what I mean? Like, that is me being like, yeah. And so needle felting kind of is, it's a little bit less structure. I mean, yes, you're kind of going, you do have an idea, like when you get a kid or something, you have an idea of where you're going with something, but it's less clear. It's not like take 30 grams of color B and felt it into a shape that is 3 centimeters by 7 centimeters by 6 centimeters and slightly ovoid. Like, it's not that. It's not that. So it's much less structured than I'm typically comfortable with, but still allows for a decent amount of success, even for somebody like me who would not necessarily consider myself artistic. So I don't know, maybe and she's like totally in love with the whole idea of succulents, but kills them all. So maybe it'll be a good thing. else? So yeah, and so then I had the lecture in the afternoon. She was talking about her tunas flock, and I have just been so interested in tunas because I've talked a little bit about it before because I'm knitting right now with some of her fiber. And she's a farm in southern Indiana. I have family that's near her, not exactly where she is, but near her. So I feel like I have some sort of strange affinity. And also I'm from southern Ohio, so like I just feel like there's some sort of connection there for some reason. But anyway, so I've just really enjoyed her fiber, and it was great to hear her talk about her experience with she did not grow up on a farm, and they were not originally shepherds. They had other livestock animals and then added sheep later. So it's just interesting to hear her talk about her. It's like she's not a brand new shepherdess, but she's also not like, oh yes, I have exactly, like we have established the maximum capacity of our farm, and this is exactly what we're working with, and she's still growing. And so it was very interesting. She was very dynamic. I enjoyed her so much. Well, I just love it. I think you do too. So, very enjoyable. I enjoyed my trip, and that was like it was like more like 2 hours and 40 minutes out, 2 hours, and I had like an audiobook, and it was very pleasant. It was like the perfect amount of driving. I got home and was not like, oh gosh, it was lovely. I enjoyed it so much. I was thinking there was something else I was supposed to tell you about that was woolly, but now that I say that, I can't think of what it would be. I can't think of what it would be. Whatever. So apples. Oh, I'm going to try a new orchard that's close to me. It's like half an hour away. And they have the Gold Rush. Have you had the Gold Rush apple? I really enjoy it very much. It's a very late apple. And it's unusual because I could be very wrong about this. I probably am. But like when I'm thinking about it, most of our late apples are red, I think. Or more red. And this is a yellow late apple. And it is a slightly sweeter apple, but it's got a great complex flavor. It's firm, which is like a number 1 on my list of requirements. But it's not like just sweet. Like I love Golden Delicious, don't get me wrong. But they're mostly just sweet. Like, and this has that. And I will say this, if you're getting them from an orchard that like is open all year, as some of our orchards are, where they've kept it in cold storage, the later you get it, the sweeter it will be and the softer it will be, which makes sense. So if you get it like I would say up until January, it still has a good amount of, it's good. I mean, it's a nice apple after that, but it's more like a Golden Delicious after, I would say, February in my area. We'll see how this year goes. And every year's different. Because even though we get spoiled into consistency, it's so interesting, right? Like the more processed our diet becomes, like the more I think I notice inconsistency in other things. And it's weird, right? It's weird for me to be like, oh, these clementines are only good 1 out of 4 times I get them. And it's like, I know that that's a natural product and like it's coming to me from not next door, but I still somehow am holding it to a standard of a more processed food, which is going to be consistent by its nature. At the same time, I'm like, I hate rolling the dice where 25% of my investment is going to be worthless. So yeah, food systems are confusing. What were we talking about? Apples. Of course, that's what we were talking about. Silly me. So I'm very much looking forward to that. I'm going to do that tomorrow. So hopefully in the next episode, I'll be talking too much how much I love that apple, which I suddenly can't, the Gold Rush. I suddenly can't think of. And hopefully they'll have something else interesting that I don't know about. And then I really do feel like there was something else I was to tell you about, but okay, just moving on. I can't think of it. So let's do some knitting, okay? Okay. So finished objects. I finished my cornice hat, which is a pattern by Woolly Wormhead. And you see it has little ear flappies? Isn't it cute? So this is for my husband. It's not for me. I like more boofiness in a hat. I like more fabric up here to balance my very lusciously round face. But it's super cute. He likes it. I did have to, this is hand spun, and I apologize, I don't know the dyer. I don't think she's dyeing anymore. Even though I don't know who she is. I just lie. But I don't think so I just love this color combination though so much. So I did do the bottom, of course, is garter in the round, and I did do no purling. If you're interested, if you're newer to the podcast, you haven't heard me talk about that before. If you go to YouTube or you Google or whatever, garter stitch in the round, no purling. Paul Emmons-Feasley of Knitting Pipeline has a tutorial about how to do it, but involves just wrapping the first and last stitch of a round, depending on which way you're going. And you're just going to flip the hat basically inside out and knit, and then wrap it, and then flip it back out. And so it's much, I just, the thought of purling in the round really hurts me deep in my soul. It does create a very slight, see in the middle of that, you can see that that's the beginning of my row. So you can see that it creates a very slight warbliness, but nobody would notice. I don't even think a knitter would notice unless you pointed it out to them. And you can kind of see here. You can't because I'm having trouble. But you can kind of see it there where I've done the purl rows. I've flipped it inside out and done them. But anyway, very enjoyable. I finished the hat, had him try it on. I didn't like bind it off, or I didn't sew the top closed. Had him try it on. It was too short. So I did rip out the decreases for the crown and then knit another, I think 3 repeats, like another 12 rows essentially. So I made it a little bit longer for him. But my gauge was different. Like there was millions of things. It's not faulting the pattern at all. Like everybody's head is slightly different. My husband has a very tall head, I think. He has the same circumference head I do, but I think his head is taller than mine. So I'm not complaining about the pattern. The pattern's lovely. Woolly Wormhead always does a good hat pattern. So yay, hands fun. And then I finished my Yoke Emma by Astrid Tooting. And I will put a picture of it on my body here. Okay, so here is my finished Yoke Emma. What? I'm just wearing my universal like wrinkly house dress underneath of it because I'm not sure what it needs to be with yet. I'm feeling like maybe something, whatever. We don't need to talk about that yet. But just to give you an idea where things are, here is my underbust. Here is my natural waistline, and it's pretty much right smack dab in the middle of that. Here is the fullest part of my belly, so it's slightly above that. And so I think this is technically the yarn bra length, maybe this is the yarn bra length. So we're bordering on yarn bra, but I wanted it that way. I actually had, it was actually this long, I think, before I pulled out the hem. And I actually did want it to be shorter. So you can see it looks pretty even on my person, I think. Maybe I need to zoom out more for you. Wide angle. So I think it looks pretty even on my body. When you look at it flat, this front part looks like crazy longer. But I think it looks pretty good on. And I did add short rows in the non-yoke part to get it to be a little bit longer in the front. So you're going to hear Annie snorkeling. I'm not sure what she's snorkeling at, but that's what you're hearing. I think I might actually make the sleeve a little bit longer. I don't know. It's actually quite functional, but sometimes I do like my sleeve to kind of come down like to my thumb join, but I haven't decided yet. Again, perfectly functional, just might be slightly cozier if it were like this. Yeah, I think I definitely make that longer. But that's no big deal, just to rip out the ribbing and reknit a few inches. But so there it is. Is there anything else I need to tell you? I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, I would say it has a little bit of positive ease, but not much. It's definitely closer fitting. It has a little bit, yokes are tricky, right? Like, so it has a little bit of extra fabric maybe right here. Like, because can you see that when I, but at the same time, like, it's hard on a yoke. Sometimes you feel like you want a little extra room. I feel like I want a little bit of extra room in a yoke. Sometimes it just helps with this motion thing. But again, like my traditional thing where this is not, there are not, when I split these sleeves for the yoke, there are not an equal number of stitches on the front and the back. Gus. There are many more stitches on the front to account for bust line. And of course, my sleeves are bigger than what indicated the pattern. I have a proportionally larger arm. So, I think I actually knit, I think I may have knit like my full bust size. Usually I knit my upper bust size. But because the yoke is pretty quick increase, decrease, yeah, I think I just knit. And also I think the pattern has you switch needles after you get done with the yoke, which I did not do. So, you know, I didn't knit it exactly to the thing. But yeah, there is a little bit of extra fabric in my yoke right here. I probably should have moved my sleeves just a slightly bit forward. But that's my doing, not the pattern's doing. But the back is fine, and it doesn't feel uncomfortable in any way. I think part of it is I had just, I was knitting this in a similar time frame that I was knitting my after party, and my after party is a little bit snug in the armhole. It fits, but it doesn't have ease, and it feels a little bit restricted when you just first put it on. So I think maybe I was like kind of reacting to that and giving myself a little bit more room here. But I'm not displeased with it. Like, I can't get closer to you so that you can see it and then not also be like, weird framing is weird, Joe. Like, maybe we need to go down a little bit, but I can't do that without just like everything. So, okay. So here it is. I don't know. Maybe you can see that, but I'm not upset with it. It's just a little bit unusual. And again, my doing, not the pattern. But otherwise, I'm very happy with it. And I shouldn't even say otherwise. I'm still very happy with it. And I think I will get good wear out of it. It's very comfortable. This dress is actually sleeveless, so I don't have anything on my arms, and I would say this yarn is definitely fine for me to wear next to skin. It is a merino, so that makes sense. But it's very wearable. So, yay! That. Okay, so I'm back just to like touch base. Having pulled on my sweater to try to show you that there was a little bit extra fabric in the yoke, I made it look like there was like a lot of extra fabric in the yoke. It was just a difference of not be able to see it on the viewfinder of what I'm looking at versus what it looked like on the screen. So I did what I just checked back in and let you know that it's not like giant wrinkles of fabric. It is when you pull on it and like you know, you make it crazy. But when you it's not as exaggerated as it looked. Okay. So here it is. Yay. I knit mine with oh my gosh, I've said it so many times. It's Patagonia, but I can't remember that. Juniper Moon. Jeez Louise. Patagonia. There are 3 colors. There's 4 colors altogether. And so I did knit mine cropped. The pattern is not written cropped, but I did knit mine cropped. And if you notice, like I tend to not weave in ends if it's a sweater for me. Especially, if it was like superwash, I would, but this yarn is sticky enough, it's fine. It is merino, but it's not superwash, and it feels wooleny, so it's fine. don't look inside my sweaters. Well, look inside them. I don't care. But I'm just warning you. In fact, let's look inside my sweater. So there are my floats. This is a great one if you are, if you're not an experienced ferrule knitter per se or stranded knitter. It doesn't have long floats. Like, I do not love long floats, and this one is pretty good about keeping the floats pretty short so you can see the inside there. So it's nice. You don't have to worry about trying to fiddle with your gauge quite as much. But yeah, so that's that. I'm enjoying it. I'm trying to decide what I should wear it with. I need to make some more dress number ones, I think, or the Audacier tunics. I need to make myself some more tunics, just out of like quilter's cotton. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, quilter's cotton, don't make garments out of that, because I love garments out of quilter's cotton because, yes, they don't flow perfectly. They don't have like the best drape. I'm not knitting to look thinner. Like, that's what drape helps. I mean, it makes you look small, like, you know. And so, like, nothing I sew is going to be magical enough to make me look thin. So I'm just enjoying knitting or sewing with quilter's cotton because it's so durable. Well, it's so much more durable than most clothing I can buy for myself. And even more so than like double gauze, or I don't think I've sewn for myself with lawn yet, like a cotton lawn. I think that would be similar. That'd probably be like the best of both worlds, but it is often pricey. But since I sew all the time and I'm always covered in string, I'm like very aware of any sort of pilling on my clothing, because it just grabs onto the string and then makes it harder to get string off of the clothes. So I think I'm especially like pro quilter's cotton because it does not do that. But anyway, so I need to make myself some more of those. Also in finished objects, I'm a machine. I have some machine knitted socks. That was not an intentional transition. Are you kidding me? So this is Joanna Knit Spin Farm. This is her self-striping sock. This is Tarhi, which is my favorite. And this is part of her Little Known Holidays Club. And so November 18th is Cider Day. So even though I don't actually get the self-striping sock club, she sent me this one because she's the nicest. And not only did she send me this one, but she sent it to me cranked into a tube for my little feet. So she sent me one full skein cranked, and I was able to get 4 socks out of it. What? And I thought for sure 2 of them would be very short. Well, I kind of like my socks a little bit because I'm a 72 stitcher. So I have a big circumference of my foot. If you're doing a 64, you get much more length. And so this is the contrasting color that she offered with the club. And then I thought, I think I can get another pair out of that. And I thought, oh, they're gonna be pretty short. They're totally fine. I love them. And so this is just some unknown colorway scrap I had in my big basket of scraps, which I constantly want to get rid of, and then something like this happens and I'm like, all right, it's good to have random scrap here. 4 socks! I'm so excited. So I'm a size 10, 11 in women's with a 72, and I was able to get 4 socks out of 1 sock tube. And Joanna now does offer that. Well, Bill offers it from the Knit Spin Farm. You can either, if you're purchasing their yarn, I think it's only like $10 extra if you're purchasing their yarn, and her yarn is perfect. I like Corrido sock. I like it quite a lot. But I love the Tarhi sock. So, right. So excited. And it was actually especially touching because Cider Day is on the day I'm having my surgery, and it made me feel like extra much like it was going to maybe be okay. Like the stars were aligning in my favor, which was very exciting. Sorry, my husband is texting me. So yay that. They also smell really good, so I keep holding them against my head. Because I was using Lolo Bar, because it's winter now. So I'm very excited about those. 4 socks. And all I had to do was knit the heels and toes and cuffs. Now that's still quite a bit of knitting, don't get me wrong. but fun. So excited. And then I have one more finished object. I think you're gonna like it. So I was gifted the Foraged pattern, which is a pattern by Hunter Hammerson. Judith gifted it to me on Ravelry. Oh my gosh, I was so excited. Have you seen it? I should show it to you. Let me show it to you. Because now I'm excited because she has several other patterns that I'm like, what? I need that too. So I just want to at least show you the cover page. Come on, this pattern is like 20 pages long. How cute is that? Are you dying? How cute is that? Thank you, Judith. So here is mine. Now, I just knit this one. I did not. She has a suggestion that if you want your like top to kind of droop more over the bottom, that you can use curtain weights, which is like basically a knit tube, like an I-cord essentially, tube with weights inside of it. And it will help to kind of make your mushroom droop a little bit. She also suggests that you can put coins in the bottom so it'll stand up by itself. That's pretty cute. Or that you could put a magnet in the bottom and then you could put it like on a metal tray and like have like a whole diorama, which I'm pretty sure I need to do. Oh my gosh. Okay, now I really hadn't thought about having a diorama. I just thought of it in the moment. And so now my brain is going crazy with the thought of the diorama with my little wool husband. And it's like a whole thing in my head. And it's highly enjoyable. And maybe there are knitted snails. I don't know if there's a knitted snail pattern, but I'm pretty sure I could figure it out. Yeah, it's totally happening. Oh my gosh. Whoa. How do people not have it? So, aren't they so cute? Now, she also suggests that you can use she calls, it's like a big fat straw. She calls them milkshake straws, I think, but like boba tea straws. I've never had boba tea. I don't know what that is, but it has a big straw. I know what it is. I'm just saying firsthand. I don't want to pretend I'm fancier than I am. But I kind of like the way that it feels. And also I'm going to use it as an ornament, so it's going to hang. So I didn't feel like I needed the straw. But I'm assuming if you did make your diorama with the magnet in the bottom of it, maybe you'd want, but I kind of like it jaunty. I like my jaunty mushrooms. Aren't they cute? So until Gentle Knitter makes her mushroom pattern, I'm waiting. No pressure, because it's a pain to make a pattern. But, oh my gosh, right. And there are several little mushrooms. I'm very excited about them. Okay, yarn. This is Brooklyn Tweed fingering weight one, Shelter or Loft. I think it's Shelter, right? I don't know. Fingering weight. And it's the Long John's colorway. And then this is, yes. This is some Jamieson and Smith that I have left over from a hat. That sheep hide hat from like a million years ago. It's shade 2003. Again, I know. It's a lot of pressure to maintain scraps, but sometimes you need a tiny mushroom. And then you have it, which is pretty exciting. Oh my gosh, right. So I want to make many more mushrooms. I think I need a golden mushroom. And you saw in her picture, she uses she's clearly using some like hand dyes and stuff that are like a superwash merino nylon kind of thing. And they look darling too. I just love a wool and spun yarn, so. Oh my gosh, but so then she also has a pattern called Needled, which I totally bought. And it's for tiny Christmas trees. So how cute are those? I'm very excited about them. And she offers, in each pattern there's lots of photographs. I think I told you that the mushroom pattern is like 20 pages long or something crazy. And this needled one is 12. And there's only one kind of tree. So, I mean, she's very thorough. And I enjoyed it highly. I highly enjoyed it. The only thing I did not do, in the pattern, she has this pearl bump line because you use like a Judy's Magic cast on. And she has this pro bump. The red bumps through. She does. Oh my gosh, I'm so tired. Words and things. Let me see if I can see a picture where it shows it. Like her transition row between from like, so you cast on with Judy's Magic and you work this part and then you work this part, right? She has the transition color pearl bump show, which is totally cute. I just didn't do it. I wanted mine not to show, but I mean, not for any good reason. Just because I was feeling persnickety, I guess. You can kind of see it here. So that's the only thing I did different. And I didn't use the straw. Right. I don't know where you get curtain weights. I'm assuming you get them at like a Joann's or something, like a fabric store. I imagine that's where you get them. But I mean, you could use other things. You could use whatever. I don't want to think about it, but you could use other things. Be creative. You are. I'm just telling you to be something you already are. I'm sorry, that sounded bossy, but that's not really what I meant. It just meant you are creative. You will figure it out. Okay, let's talk about some more knitting. What else do I have to show you? I've been talking for like 7 weeks. What's in that bag? Oh, that's right. Okay, so Vogue Knitting Live. I totally got this much of a socks done. What? So this is also Knit Spin Farm, and this is her Corriedale sock base. And aren't you gored to be a knitter? Isn't it gored to be a knitter? Something like that. Winter squash colorway, y'all. I've been holding on to this forever because I love it so much. But then I was like, dude, just knit it. So I cast on the sock at home, or the toe at home. And then I knit the other part at Vogue. And so I'm just doing a little tiny bit of ribbing on each side. It's just one purl, like one stockinette bump worth. Just because it makes my sock look a little bit narrower. Makes me feel less overwhelmed by how many stitches. It's totally just like a trick, right? Like sometimes I look at the sock and I'm like, oh, that's too many stitches, I can't knit that. But sometimes it shrink it a little bit, tricks me. Also, it is helpful to be listening to awesome lectures while you're knitting, because hi. So that's going to be super cute. Very excited. Then also, I am almost done with my Trelawney shawl. So this is a pattern by Tyne Swedish. She's doing an entire Harry Potter series of shawls. Are we excited? Of course we are. And I've ended mine a bit soon because I ran out of the purple, which is a Madeline Tosh sock, I think. And you know, those are shorter skeins, in the Wicked colorway. So I knew that was a possibility and I'm okay with it. And it's not the pattern. I did not check gauge. My gauge is looser, I can tell, because I knit mine on a US 3 and I should probably knit it on a US 2. So I'm such a loose knitter. And then my contrasting color is another Crafty Girl and her silky sock in the All-Knowing colorway, which is so gorgeous. And I'm just more in love with each time I use it. Isn't it just beautiful? So pretty. So I have started my I-cord bind off. I'm like halfway-ish through. Yay! Yeah, I mean, it's good size already. So I will have that done next time. Okay. And then one more thing to show you. Oops, I didn't pull that pattern up. I went to another yarn store in the city that I have not been to before. Broad Ripple Knits. It's actually very close to, well, we won't say that, but I was in the area and I've gone a couple times before, but I've been either too late or too early. It's just not synced up yet. And you know, I'm constantly just like, I have too much yarn in my life already. I don't need to go find more yarn places. But I went and I found more yarn. Of course. She had a sample of the June hat by Megan Kelly, which is one of those Kelburn woolen hat. Like they're doing the whole year of hats. So she had one of those. They did not have the Kelburn woolens. Is it Homestead? I think that's the one. They didn't have that. But oh no, I just meant I had to buy some Brooklyn tweed. Because they actually have it! So if you're in Indianapolis and you're looking for some Brooklyn tweed, they have Shelter, Loft, Arbor, Peary. I think they had Quarry too. Yeah, pretty sure they had Quarry too. What? They had a ton of Kelburn Woolen Scout, which I really liked. And they had some Swans Island Sport, which I only bought one skein of ochre, and I mean, I really have no justification for buying it because I didn't need it, but I kind of want to go buy whatever they have left. I have issues. So many issues. So, here is my hat so far. Wait, I should show you the picture of it. I'm not always like I'm going to knit that exact thing. But I think if they had had the Homestead, I would have, because it was so crisp. And Germantown, not Homestead, Germantown. I am from a German place, so my home is German. But they had this sample in the shop, and it was gorgeous. The lines were so crisp. I was really intrigued by it. And I did like that yarn quite a bit, the feel of it. But they did not have it, so I decided to go ahead and get the Brooklyn tweed. I'll put the show notes, the colorways in the show notes, the tags are over there. I'm the worst. But so here's mine so far. This is so pleasant to knit. It was very hard not to just knit the whole thing at one setting because so enjoyable. I am knitting mine inside out because I'm contrary. Again, purling in the round makes my face bleed. It is written, it's reverse stockinette, so it's written to purl every round in the round. I understand why. It's confusing to new knitters to be like, you're going to work this hat inside out. But that's crazy talk. You just work that hat inside out. So I'm actually knitting it so it looks like this while I'm working on it. It's very enjoyable. I did make mine 11 stitches bigger because I have a giant head and I don't like a snug hat. There's only one size in the pattern, but it's free, so I'm okay with that. Highly enjoyable. Highly. I love this yarn. It's luxurious. It's pretty, I mean, for me, it's a higher price point for a yarn. I think it's $12.75 or something. It's like 13-ish something for a 50 gram skein. So it's on the definite like upper end of my budget. Like that would be funny if I had one, but in my head, sometimes just like a mental cap. Like I can't knit a sweater in a yarn that costs $26 a skein. Like for me, because I'm a big person. But maybe I could have a $26 hat, even though that's crazy. But you know what I mean. So I love this. I will use it for accessories, but probably not for sweaters. It's not for my budget. Now, if I weren't a podcaster, I probably would because I would be knitting a lot less. Whatever. Why am I telling you this? Because I'm just talking. We're talking. I love it. I really do. It's so pleasant. I'm just digging it so much. Okay, so I think that's all. Yeah. That's all. So again, December 1st, Cats and Housecoats. I'm hoping to get like what I'm reading. Let's read some stuff that's like woolly out there. And then, yeah. My goodness. So if you're looking for bags, the cats will probably be the only bags I do for the rest of the year. depending on how well I'm feeling, I might try to get in another one, which would be like right in the middle of December, shipping out, ready to go. It'll just depend on how I'm physically doing. So I'm really trying not to pressure myself. I'm not going to pressure myself. I'm not trying. I'm not going to pressure myself. Because sometimes your body just needs to heal. And if you try to push it, it's just going to take twice as long. And there's like the whole politic of like, I'm just very lucky. And let me acknowledge, I'm very lucky that I have that flexibility in my job. And I thank all of you so much right now. So much that while I don't have short-term disability, I at least can move things around and not have to worry about how that's going to look to a boss or whatever. Even though I do sometimes worry about how it'll look to you, but that's my own thing. It's not you. You're not doing that. I'm doing that. So again, I am endlessly thankful for folks who are supporting the podcast via Patreon, folks who are supporting via PayPal or Ko-Fi, people who are buying stuff from the shop. And people just who are like putting good energy out there, interacting on the internet in positive ways. I appreciate all of you so very much, especially right now. Gus is asleep. Oh, he woke up. He's just changing positions. Did I show you Gus? I didn't show you Gus. Gus is fluffy right now. He's supposed to have had a haircut, but our groomer was sick. So he's extra floofy. I know I woke you up, buddy. I'm sorry. Ooh, you were awake. Can you look out that way? People just want to say hi. This really is just like 3 minutes of silence and a cute dog. We probably needed it. I did. I hope you have a good few weeks, and I'll talk to you next time.